The Wagogo culture is a very old culture. It is a pastoral culture that has its own music traditions that are very, very strong. The music of Tanzania is quite phenomenal because it really being a coastal country, Tanzania, with a long coast on the Indian Ocean, it brought in from the east a number of traditions that have affected the cultural music along the coast, the Swahili cultures. So we have traditions from almost 2,000 years ago arriving on the coast from the Islamic Peninsula, the Arab Peninsula, especially from the country of Oman. And the sultans and the sultan's sons came down to Zanzibar and then to the coast of Tanzania and have brought many of the Arab music traditions with them and then incorporated into the music of the Swahili coast. But besides that, the migration of people, even as far as the Cape Town area of South Africa, people migrated up to Tanzania. So that southern Tanzania has very many of the influences straight from the Zulu cultures of South Africa. that migrated up. The mouthbow, for example, is an instrument that migrated about 2,000 miles all the way up from South Africa in through Malawi into southern Tanzania. And the cultures of the mountainous regions of southern Tanzania have traditions from this migration of people all the way, the Ngoni migration from all the way in the south. Then as we move further up, we have other migrations around Lake Victoria that have migrated in from the north. For example, the traditions of lyres and harps that came from countries such as even Egypt, coming down through the Sudan, coming in through northern Tanzania and becoming part of cultures, for example, the Kuria culture on the eastern side of Lake Victoria. So it's a magnificent country of all these migrations of music traditions coming in. And of course, it is a country where Zanzibar, an island which is part of Tanzania, was the place where the slaves were taken to. So there were migrations of people from the western part of the country clear across to Zanzibar. And those traditions also migrated with the caravans of people.
Wenzangu tunapoteza
heza zija leo, hakijui kweli kinatoka wapi kinakwenda wapi.
Sisi kabila la Mgogo
Kama vile kweli ndio Nasunyuno, Chipande pamoja na Mhebe, pia na Mzikiwara.
Sisi kabila la Mgogo,
Sisi kabila la Mgogo,
ngoma zetu
tunazo,
kama vile
kweli ndio Nasunyuno, Chipande pamoja na Mhebe, pia na Mzikiwara. kauli mbiu, tuheshimu utamaduni wetu.
Kwa kabila la Mgogo wa mkoa wa Dodoma.
Kauli mbiu, tuheshimu utamaduni wetu. Wa kabila la Mgogo wa mkoa wa Dodoma.
Many people in the country feel that this is one culture that is really renowned as the musical culture, one of the musical cultures of the country. And it has been exciting and has been pursued by scholars coming into the country quite often. Starting in the 1950s with Hugh Tracy coming up from South Africa, having a project of recording the music traditions of Eastern, Central and Southern Africa, and spending a lot of time with the Wagogo. So we have wonderful recordings that Hugh Tracy made in 1950 of Wagogo music and many musical traditions within the Wagogo. In 1960, 10 years after, a young scholar coming out from Austria met Tracy and asked for suggestions of what to record when he went into East Africa. And Hugh Tracy gave Gerhard Kubik, is the man I'm talking about, gave him the suggestion that the very musical tribe, the tribe that has many quality music traditions and exciting music traditions, was the Wagogo. And Gerhard Kubik then, 10 years after Tracy, also did a remarkable amount of recordings that were published in those years. Coming to the present, in around year 2000, a go-go music student at the university named Kedman Mapana, he focused in his master's thesis to focus on one of the traditions within the Wagogo called Muheme, the Muheme tradition of how it moved, how it transpired from a tradition that was used for a long time as music to accompany female circumcision. This is a type of music performed by female drummers. Drumming by females is not very common in Africa, and the Wagogo are one of the strong groups that do drumming by females. Edmund Mapana was looking at the transition from this type of music, which happened for a long time, up until the 1960s, when political parties at the time of independence felt they would take some of the popular music traditions and use them at political rallies. And one of the traditions they took was the Muheme tradition. So this transition of a tradition that was very serious tradition used at circumcisions to a tradition that was more of an entertainment at political rallies. And then Mapana saw that it didn't stop there. About 10 years after that, it started to be used in the church. And so for the Wagogo, we have this tradition from a female circumcision to a political rally to a church music. So we see how the changes of Wagogo music are taking place, and they are becoming modernized or changed all the time. So it's a very living tradition.
I was focusing on the wonderful music of the Wagogo. I developed a desire to see for myself what it was like. It was in fact in Wagogo that I made one of a major discovery. You see, I discovered what kind of tonal system is behind much of the go-go music, and that the tonal system, in brief words, is the use of overtones over a single fundamental.
Wanafunzi wa Yesu wakarejea kurudi nyuma, kwa ajili ya hayo wengi ni baba yetu
Yesu alisema maneno magumu hekaluni, alipomaliza maneno magumu hekaluni, alipokuwa akifundisha. Kwa ajili ya hayo wengi miongoni mwa wanafunzi wa Yesu wakarejea, wanafunzi wa Yesu wakarejea kurudi nyuma.
Music and resistance and power and hidden transcripts. I mean, this is human nature to embed our songs with ambiguity, so that they can be read one way by one listener and one way by another listener. They can be read as something that's harmless and innocuous by someone in a position of power, but in fact that harmless and innocuous message might be so full of meaning and so full of local humor and sarcasm and resistance to the local ears that hear it, that it has a certain power in that regard. And in a nutshell, what we had was missionaries coming here in the 19th century and using hymn books, specifically Sankey's Hymns, which was a million-seller hymn book back in the 1890s, in lieu of even the Bible, because it was so much easier to use a hymn to teach the message of gospel. And so songs had a very direct impact in terms of missionizing in this place. These hymns were at first sung in their own languages, in German or in English. Soon they were translated, and in the process of translating these songs into local languages, you start to see the songs change. The melodies are changing to correspond with the language itself. And in some cases, the rhythms of the language begin to have some kind of influence in the original hymn itself. The bringing of mainstream doctrine to the point of accepting local idioms in terms of practice became a very crucial endeavor. And once that happened, things changed very, very quickly, to the point where today we just have all kinds of compositions that are in the local languages, with as much rhythmic variety and diversity as you could find in any village situation.
Beula,
ameula sana, ameula sana.
The way a person of the different ethnic groups become, how their ear and their brain and their mind become musically enculturated into their societies is a very interesting area that is now being studied. In fact, being studied by some of the students from the music program at the University of Dar es Salaam. How attitudes towards specific instruments developed, how knowledge about instruments are developed in a young child, and then how playing skills are learned by the child in a culture. These sort of inculturation of tuning the ear, tuning the mind to musical understanding.
Each event has the songs in it. You are talking about even the kids around you. So the kids are growing up participating, listening, observing, and that's how they pick. So you find themselves also doing, even without somebody teaching them how to do it.
Acoustic knowledge, how to make the instruments, simple ideas of which wood to use. And then children learn in different ways how to play the various instruments. Do they learn through imitation? Do they attend rituals and have the opportunity to play at the rituals? Or are they specifically ascribed to a particular person to learn and to study closely?
wanadamoenia ni nyota njema, tuna ujumbe wetu mali zao, nao unasema
Maybe you have a sensitive health topic like HIV-related stigma. That's something that might not be easy to address in everyday conversation, just on the street. And I think that the context of a song, a musical performance, provides a useful medium to transmit these sensitive kinds of messages. They also offer another way to access a population that might not be able to read a brochure about the particular topic, and groups that may not understand English, even some residents whose Kiswahili comprehension may be limited. So by putting it through the medium of the song and in the local language of Chigogo, as well as in Swahili, you're able to access more people with these kinds of messages. And you also engage them or encourage them to participate in the event, and they're more likely to take something away from that than if you're giving them a lecture in a classroom or something like that. So this participatory kind of communication and education.
Utamaduni wetu wa Chigogo tufurahie. Ha! Ha! Utamaduni wetu wa Chigogo tufurahie. Go! I attended the festival last year and then this year also, and
before attending the festival. And I was really interested to see this music because I'd heard a lot about it and heard about the goals of the Wagogo Festival, being to revitalize Wagogo music, and it's very much as a local initiative. So on the festival website, I believe they state that this festival is resisting the nationalist trend to create this pan-Tanzanian society and kind of revitalizing this local music. So when I attended the festival, I was surprised and interested to see that many of the songs were actually addressing national development themes, national health messages that are promoted at the national level and are encouraged by the Ministry of Health and NGOs in the country. So this was very interesting to me, seeing that the festival's goal was very much rooted in the local community. But looking deeper, you also see that the groups were also singing Christian songs. Many of the groups came out of the Anglican churches in the area and other churches. And they also were singing about other concerns. So you had, often in the same song, you have Kiswahili lyrics that are addressing the health message. And then you have maybe Wagogo lyrics that are addressing other issues and using less direct language. So a lot of metaphor and indirect kinds of messages directed to the local community about maybe family relationships or love or other kinds of issues that are relevant to people. So I think it's a really interesting example of how artists use music to address issues that are relevant both to the local community, also to national concerns that they find are relevant.
napewa nafasi sasa kwa yule mama ili aweze kutuambia ule wimbo.
Yeah.